today is loops, my precious loops, or Fruity Loops. Not the loops in roller coasters, but we're talking about for loops. And what for loops are is this right here. This is a for loop. We start with just the for loop. We declare a variable, and then we have the conditional right here, just like an if statement. And then we have the incremental or the counter, which you used in your idle game where you did monies equals monies plus 1. Every time you click that button, it increased by 1. It's the same exact concept. Every time this conditional is true, you do the thing inside the loop. Now, this may sound really, really easy, and you might ignore what I'm doing, but what you have to realize is I'm breaking it down so you can understand it, and then we're going to do really, really hard stuff. I'm going to be awarding a soda to the first person to solve the answer, and the answer is literally like 2 characters. It took the last class, most people, 45 minutes to type 2 characters in the keyboard. This is the difference between programming and AP Computer Science. Today we're doing theory, AP Computer Science. Before today, we were all doing programming, basically, which is a programming class, which is not theory-based. What that means is, if this is 0, compared to if it's 10, we'll break the program or not. If this is, if this is greater than instead of less than, you'll have an infinite loop that'll break your machine and be a virus to your computer. And you will literally have to close down BlueJ in order to fix it. That means if you just randomly change things, it will take you 3 minutes to get back to the point where you could change your code again. Does everyone get that? So you need to be paying attention to this. So, without further ado, this is the basic language. This is the type of loop. Again, this is the declaration where if I had my Java code over here, which some of yours is like this, but if this was my Java code, this code right here would be underneath the public class, the implements applet, extends applet, runs mouse listener, and all that. It'd be right below that. The conditional would be in my paint. If you click the button, do this. Or in my mouse listener is the click inside the box. Now the next incremental, the counter, basically was inside those if statements. You'd increase the value. And then all we're doing is this print line thing. What is that? System.out.println. If you tried to Google the answer to my previous assignments that I gave you, you probably ran into this. And then you wonder to yourself, what the heck is this? Why doesn't this work? I want to use this because I think this will work, and it just didn't. That's because this is what everyone in the programming world usually learns first. They usually learn a program that does this. 99% of the people learn this as their first program. Hello world. Click the void main string args, click OK, and then it says hello world, and it's like, holy crap, this is amazing, and we just drew hello world to the screen. When you do this, because our computers reset every time, make sure you have checked clear screen and unlimited buffering, because then every time you run it, it'll show up only what you want to produce. That was most people's first I don't think I made you guys do that, right? Yeah, yes. You are not the norm. Next time, when you meet someone who had a different teacher, and you ask them, do you know what hello world is? You laugh at them and say, ha, we were advanced. The old way is the for loop. There is an advanced for loop, which I think I put on the bottom of this. This, you need to know arrays, and I'm not going to get into that just yet. But this is the old for loop. What we're doing is we're system.out.println. We're printing out, Mr. Fence can only count 2, concatenating the variable I, which is just like complex string output in your if program. So when I compile and run this, which feel free to do on your computer, you'll get this. Now, the fun thing about this is, I want you to change this to count to 1 to 9. Your code right now goes 0 to 10. What I want you to do right now is count. Go ahead and work on your code. Output 1 to 9, then go 1 to 5, then do all Okay, so for those of you that are struggling with this, what you want to do is this 0 right here, if I change that to 2, and if I change this 10 to 4, I'm going to count 2 to 4. So when I compile and run this, I'm going to get Mr. Fencing can only count to 2, 3, and 4, because he's just that stupid. If you run into an error, what's happening is you're making an infinite loop. So if I were to change this, if I is greater than or equal to 1, I is always greater than or equal to 1. So what's going to happen when I compile and run this is you're going to get an infinite loop. I have an infinite loop. To stop, this is the virus that I'm talking about. Because what happens is the only way to close this, Control-Shift-R. So try that. Control-Shift-R, and it will close it. And it'll stop running it. And that red box right here will turn gray. If that doesn't work, the other way to do it is, so if I run this real quick, and I go Options Close, because it's still running in the background. If I go to my task manager now, see this red bar still spinning? Look at my BlueJ processing. It's taking up my full processing power. It's taking up a full processor. The only way to stop this is to either right-click and reset the Java virtual machine, or project close and reopen. Best thing to do is just to reset the Java machine. And then after you do that, you finally get BlueJ to not be eating up all your processing power. To get 1 to 10, what we want to do is we want to change the initial I value to 1 and the conditional to 10. And when I compile and run this, there we go. To get from 2 to 99, I go 2 to 99. Compile and run this. And I get, if I scroll, 2 to 99. The fun one is this. When I start wanting to count by 10s or by 2s, there are multiple ways to do this. The most efficient way is, I'm going to start at 1, go to 5. So I'm going to count 1 to 50. And instead of outputting I, I'm going to put I in parentheses and then do this thing called math. And say 10 times I. So I'm going 1 times 10, 2 times 10, 3 times 10. And when I compile and run this, 10 to 50. If I want to do 2s, change this by 2s. If I wanted to count backwards, I would change this to 5, this to 1, and change this to greater than. And last but not least, make this minus minus, because I want to decrement, not increment. Decrease, not increase. And now when I compile and run this, I will get 108642. If I didn't put it in parentheses, this is actually pretty cool. What if I wanted to add 2 every time? And I hit compile and run, I will get something I definitely do not want. 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. What's happening there? Nope. 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 I'm literally outputting the value 2, and then I'm outputting the value I. So all I'm doing is I'm going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but I'm sticking the value 2, the character 2, in front of that. Because remember, when I concatenate in a string type, it combines them. It just squashes them together and makes one string. It doesn't say the value 2 plus I is 7. To do that, you need parentheses to set that up. And that's why when I multiplied, I did the parentheses, because I don't want to make bad habits. Because now I know I'll put the value. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take away these comments, which you guys should be doing this right now. Take away these comments to comment out the first section the old way, and we're going to delete the block comments, which is the slash star star slash. And we're going to be working on the while way. What the while way is the Wild Wild West. What we're doing is we're taking this integer declaration and putting it in front of the loop. We're taking the conditional and keeping it inside the conditional. And the decrement we're putting, or increment, we're putting inside the while loop. So it's the same thing as a for loop, but instead of 1 line, it's 3 lines. This is, in turn, the easiest loop to learn first. The for loop is the hardest. That's why I taught it to you first, because I like to give you a headache. 2, use this while loop. It's exactly like the for loop. Every single time this runs, what you're doing is you keep on repeating. So you're always repeating what you're outputting. Because that's what a loop does. It repeats and repeats and repeats because it has no talent whatsoever. My name is John Cena. So what we're doing here is we're going from 0 to 4, right? So let's compile and run this and see what kind of headache I'm giving you this time. And when I output, it goes 0 to 3. Wah, 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 wah. Do not put the equals. And do the same thing as before. Remember, the things that you are changing are this number, this, and maybe putting something in there. Go ahead and give that a shot. Now, to help you learn these loops. Okay, so now what I want you to do is comment out this section and uncomment out the next section, the do while way. The while way, check to see if you're going to do it in the first place. The do while way says, I don't care what you say, I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to check. So what I like to say is this is the freshman way, and the while way was the sophomore or junior way. So we're doing the freshman way now, which means we instantly do it, and then we check. And then we do it again, and then we check. So what I want you to do now is, it's the same kind of loop. We still have our conditional, we still have our increment, we still have our initialize, and we still have our print line. What I want you to do is print it out so that it looks just like we did before. Go ahead and begin.
Oh, wow.
Okay, can I have someone read out loud? Someone read out loud this statement right here.
I do. I want you.
Go ahead.
System.out.print.
Thank you. Can someone read out loud this? Okay, go ahead.
System.out.println.
Println. Can someone verbalize just this word in 1 or 2 syllables?
Print line. Actually,
Okay, so please, no talking, some recording. Okay, so now that we took a look at the do while and the while loop, what we're going to do is we're going to comment this out. Can we please stop talking? Because now I literally have to go back and say that whole entire line again. Okay, now that we did the do while loop and the while loop, what we're going to do is we're going to comment this out and then go back and uncomment out the nested loop way all the way down here as well. And what this does is it's a loop inside a loop. If we remember back to the if program, we did a triple and double nested if. What we have to learn here is how to do a nested loop. An example of the nested loop is my favorite program. Did I show you guys this, the scale picture? Oh, no, I haven't. Look at this. So everyone see this real quick? Please pay attention to this. This is my scaled picture program that I ran. No, this is actually what I wanted to do. This is 9 lines of code. And you better believe, I think there's over 10,000 objects on the screen right now in 9 lines of code. How I did this was, I had these for loops here before, but what I'm going to do is, I'm going to... Okay, so this was my initial program, and this is a double nested loop. So I'm going to run applet, and I'm using for loops because they're a lot neater to see. And this is my program where I draw circles, rectangles, ovals, rectangles, and lines, and they change color. Oh, wow. There we go. So they change color every time I repaint. To do this, and everything's scaled, by the way, because I have a small to bigger, and there's one more, but it's just too big to see. This is where things get complicated, because you guys remember your code. Can you guys understand that code from my rectangle, oval, and line? Not really. I can't even understand it, and I wrote it. This is where you have to start to comment. Fence engineer, how can I help you? Yeah, sure. Maximilian to the front office for a little bit. Okay, so what I'm also doing is I'm creating a new random int every time I run this. I'm going through this and drawing the image once. So this loop draws the image once. After I loop that, I'm going to loop it 5 more times to redraw the image 5 times. Now what I'm doing is, when I comment this out, let me do this real quick. I just want to save the code. When I comment out this one, and please pay attention to this, otherwise you will be lost. When I comment out this one loop, I'm going to have a triple nested for loop. And watch the power. With great power comes great responsibility. Look at this. With 8 lines of code. That's 50 times 4 times 15. Different objects on the screen. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to make a whole nother one. So I shifted down the x value. Yeah, I shifted to the right the x value by 1. Now I'm going to do that and then shift down on the y. But it's going to loop so it makes a whole bunch of stuff. I think this is the huge one. So now what I'm doing, if you watch it really closely, you'll see that I draw all the way over and then I draw all the way down by drawing all the way over again. It breaks the computer. Watch this. When I drag, it can't even repaint until I say, okay, there you go. Now you caught up. And it still is trying to register that repaint. That's crazy amounts of painting objects. Why do you have to learn how to do this? When you get in the real world, you have 2,000 students in a school. There are, 7 high schools in this district? 7 times 2,000 is a whole bunch of people. Each student has records for every grade, every marking period, and that's just their grades, not including phone numbers, emails, your address, your old address, your address before that, your phone number before that, your phone number before that. There's so much data out there that's an object that probably takes up at least a megabyte worth of space just on you. And we're not even counting about referrals, compliments, awards, all the rest of the stuff too. This is programming, is being able to handle objects like this with ease. So what we're going to do is, we're going to go back to this nested loop. And let me walk you through this. This I declare the inside counter. So this x goes with the while loop. The y is the outside counter, which goes to the do while loop. The do while loop contains all this code and this code. This starts the do while loop, which means it goes down. The inside loop goes across horizontally. What that means is you should get this loop to work first and then make the other loop work. You should also do this thing called pseudocode, but I'm not that hopeful. Inside the while loop is what we've been doing before. But now we're exponentially making this problem harder by introducing a whole nother loop. By introducing a whole nother loop, we need to use print on the inside. Once we finish the inside loop, we do print line. You really should not be talking and paying attention to this because I'm going over like 30 different things that you're going to miss. The next one is I'm going to increment my y variable so that it ends this second loop, the outside loop. And then I reset the inside loop variable, which makes it so that this flawlessly does a double nested loop. And of course I didn't delete that. So when I run this, please realize there are several ways you can mess this. Oh, messed this up by running the wrong program. Void main, run it, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I want to change this, I can easily change it so that if I want to do one more to the horizontally, I make this one less. Let's make it 3, 2 less. So now when I compile and run it, I'm going to count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If I want to make it more vertically, I increase this variable to 8. So I go 1, 2, 7 times. You need to play with these numbers and values, and you need to learn from this. You can change almost anything here. Now, the challenge which I'm going to throw down for the soda, first one to get this right, is because the previous class challenge was this, the computer math challenge was this, your guys' challenge, because some people left the code up and they didn't delete it, I have to do something completely different, which we're going to do red code. I'm going to give you guys the hardest yet because you guys got the best lesson. Let's go. Ooh. Oh, you guys have plenty of time, so let's make this really challenging. Let's go. Oh, I'm going to be really mean. 20? Hold on. 20? Hold on, please stop talking. I'm trying to do math in my head. 19, 18, 17. Nine. No. 10, 9, 9, 8. Six, 6, 6, 5. 5, 4, 4, 4. 3. Please don't talk, don't help. Hold on. 3. Oh, crap. 4, 3, 3, 3. And then 3, 3, 3, 2. This will be hard.
You're a menace to this country.
It's like somebody.
If you don't want a impossible challenge, this is. I'd be impressed if anybody actually even gets this done.
Ask Trent, he was a tryhard man.
No, this one.
Is that using like math stuff that I haven't learned yet?
No, you learned this math stuff.
I'm only in geometry, and I sleep every day.
You learned this math stuff in 5th grade.
What did I learn in 5th grade?
This is 5th grade math.
I didn't know how to do Mr. Fitz, I didn't know how to do
So go ahead and try and do count. Now, I'm going to give you hints throughout. Once you... So we learned how to do this count stuff. And what we're going to be doing is... Did I show you guys this stuff? Okay, so... These pictures up here, please realize, are not everything, but some of the key things you can do with a loop. What does this hand represent? What is the hand doing? You guys can shout out the answer. Counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like I said, Mr. Fenton count to 1, Mr. Fenton count to 2. This tracking is the same thing as the Mr. Fenton can count. 2. Mr. Fenton can count 2. Mr. Fenton can count 2. Repeat all the way. What is this Lego guy doing? Sorting. You better believe you're going to be writing a loop to sort. What is this doing? Dexter's Laboratory. Who here knows that show? Okay, good. Whew, I'm not that old. It's more than 5 years old. Oh, okay. They're taking multiple types of variables and putting them into one object, which you will be doing. That's that student record object that I was talking to you about. And the other two are just loops. Now, how does this relate to the class? Go ahead and read how this relates to the class. These are all, you should be seeing stars in your eyes, or you should be saying, I hate you, Mr. Fenton. Why did you make me make 4 variables to have the button XY width length when I could have just made an array in one line and assign the values in one line for those variables? And instead of saying button X equals this, I could have said button parentheses 0 is my X value. Button parentheses 1 is my Y. Button square brackets 2 is my width. Button square brackets 3 is my length. That means that whole 3 pages of variable declarations you have on the top is going to turn down to like 4, not even 1 page. All that if loops and nonsense to try and get things to bounce could have been done with a for loop. And then you wouldn't have to change your counter, your repaint counter. You could have just done a for loop to take care of it. Now, how does this affect the class? What we're going to be doing is, can anybody tell me the main system difference other than graphics between the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo? What changed that made it so that people wouldn't rage? Trying? No. No, that's graphics. Nope. What was different about Mario compared to Mario 64? No, not looking at graphics, looking at mechanics and why people rage. No. If I had a real life and couldn't sit down and play the game for 10 hours straight, what would I get pissed off about? Couldn't save. Why couldn't I save? Because I couldn't write to a file on a Nintendo cartridge. On a Super Nintendo cartridge, I could. Here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reading from the file. We're going to be loading and saving text. Text, one thing can be a variable. That means you can have a high score chart on your game. You can have a save file to load it back up. You can save that on an online server so that you can have an online save file. You can even link it to, I think, Google Drive to have your save file on there. The thing about this is, what we're going to be doing is the following. Hopefully you read that already. Is we're going to be making the brah modifier. So we're going to be taking this song and changing it to brah, 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 oh. Like brah, 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 no. Like brah, 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 oh. Does everyone see that? This is going to be, please quiet down. This is one modifier, please stop talking. This is going to be one modifier that you can do. The next modifier that you can do is the randomizer. So we're going to be taking this song and converting it to bay, hoi, be, boy, oh, be, but Realize I literally took this, put it into random.org, and output it at random. Can we do that with our code that we know right now? Yes, we have a random function. We know how to do that. We can also do the replacer. Like, hopefully I'll get replaced next year so I don't have to teach anymore and I'll just sit on the beach. I'm going to take the parts. Let's. And we're going to turn it into yam nah, yam fave me. I nah, yam dare. Now, how did I do this? I took every U. I turned this into an array of characters. If this array at this character equals U, I replace it with M. If it equals O, I replace it with A. L is F, and C is D. And done. Next one I do is the concatenator. So I take this song. I don't know where it was, but anyways, we take this and we say our Smurf, we Smurf, and Smurf, item Smurf. Girl Smurf, quit Smurf, playing Smurf. Which means we literally take the string Smurf and concatenate it on every single word. That means we have to go through and look for the null space, the space key, and replace it with Smurf and then add another space key inside that array, which is going to be a pain. Yes, Smurf, we Smurf, could Smurf, do that, Smurf, Smurf. Smurf. I know, I messed up. The next one we can do is the deduped. Which means... Oh, man. It looks so ridiculous. Instead of saying two, I'm going to say two. Instead of saying sorry, I'm going to say sorry. Sorry, yeah. Sorry. I don't know. But what we're going to be doing is, please quiet down. Whenever we see repeat letters right next to each other, we're going to delete one of them. But to delete one of them, please realize the computer doesn't do this. It does this, where you blink and it looks like that. So you have a double space. So then you got to take care of that double space. So you have to bit shift everything by one. You could bit shift everything by one, or you can use a different type of array to do it, which is a lot faster, which we're going to look into that. The next one you can do is the letter combo remover. So instead of wanna, I'm going to take out, where is that? I don't know what I did. Oh, every instance of an. So wanna I replace with ed. So I delete an and put ed at the end. Now, please realize that. I think that's it. Yeah. This is all different ways to do these things. To make it so you can't cheat, guess what I'm going to do? Everyone has to make their own rules. I care what they are. I'm going to put restrictions on what they are. But it's more like guidelines. Which means please stop talking. You basically have to do something like all of these, but you're going to do yours a little bit differently. Again, please stop talking. What this will do is your song will be completely unique. That means you can't really copy from someone else. That means you can still help other people, but still you don't really want to be. The point of this is to learn strings and arrays. You don't know how to do arrays yet, so you can't start this assignment. So don't. What I want you to do for... It's not 11:30. Oh, no, it is. Yeah, it is. Wow. So you have 20 minutes left. Still work on these counts if you haven't gotten them done for the next 20 minutes. Also, on a piece of paper or somewhere, preferably online, write down what you want your rules and modifiers to be. because you do not want to get writer's block when you're actually writing the assignment. You want those rules to already be made out, what you want to think about. So the assignment is you're going to pick a song, change the song the way you want. I'm going to test your program by picking my favorite lyrics and seeing what happens when I run them against your code. Does everyone get that? Any song you want. And I'm going to pick a song that you guys don't know. Okay, please stop talking. Please stop talking. So, the reason why I'm not telling you the song is you need to error check your program on multiple songs. That's the cool thing, though, is once you get these songs made, you can pick any of your songs and see what will happen when you do these rules. So you could make it so that it breaks the lyrics, or you could make it so you're rewriting the lyrics so it's still funny to read. So any four-letter word becomes poop, yes. Any three-letter word becomes headache. Any one-letter word becomes you. Any two-letter word becomes baby. I don't know. Whatever you want to do, it's your rules, your program. All the rules are going to be just as difficult to implement as the other one. So don't think about what's going to be the easiest one, because then you won't meet all of my requirements. I'll just lay that out right now. Any questions on that? Okay, so please try to get back to making one of these work. I would start with at least trying to do the black one. Any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to stop recording. Please tell me that was recording. Okay, good. Wow.